Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy with the Magical Dogs Tarot. It arrived already. I was a little surprised, and I am happily pleased with this deck. It's got some idiosyncrasies that I wasn't expecting. It give it another dimension. I like it's the magnetized box that opens, but what I love is there's the moon. Yes. The moon for the doggies, and then there's a little well there where the cards sit. Most of us are familiar with that. A lovely guidebook that I have not delved into at all, but I look forward to it because certainly the Mystical Cats book is very enjoyable to read. And there are some of these cards where I will have to, oh, how did this happen? Huh. I've got a little bit of a flaw in the Fool. Imagine, a Fool with a flaw. And it's really on there, so I don't think it's something, I think it must have been in the manufacturing. In any case, I love the colors in these cards. You could almost do some kind of chakra-ish stuff with these cards because of some of the predominant colors in them. I haven't studied on that, but it started to occur to me. I'm trying to flatten that little area. And the thing that really struck me is that they seem to be, a lot of them, not all of them, seem to be sort of prehistory. I mean, there's all kinds of cultures here, but not very contemporary. So I don't know if it was just in the Pentacles. No, there's the fire. Maybe it was the fire, and I don't know. It was an impression I was getting. And yet, you know, contemporary breeds of dogs. So you kind of have to let go of an assumption that other than the dogs, there's an overarching theme going on here. You just have to take each card for what it is. It also occurred to me, but again I didn't study on it, that maybe each of the suits maybe were a different kind of time period, but I suspect that is not the case. I think that's me wanting to make things kind of have an order that they don't, beyond, again, the regular tarot order. And yeah, I mean, there's the earth, the water, the fire, the air, there's all of that stuff. So I had heard this deck criticized for, maybe mildly criticized, not badly criticized, but for not picking or giving more attention to matching a breed with a particular card. And, you know, I saw some that I thought were well considered and maybe others not, but I didn't see anything that bothered me. Okay, so here's the Fool after I'm done kind of trying to mess with that corner to get it more normal. And I like that since it's a dog, it doesn't necessarily have a dog nipping at its heels or anything, but it does have that butterfly there. The Mage, there's definitely, regardless of time period, there's a definite shamanic feel to this deck that was not at all to me in the cat deck. So, and you'll see. So there's the Mage, the High Priestess. I love her different toned tree trunks there. The Empress. I'm not sure what's supposed to be in the bowl of bubbliness there. That looks like something my dog shouldn't have, unless it's popcorn. And maybe they shouldn't have that either. But a beautiful Empress card. The Emperor, I must say, I love it. I love the dog. But for the Emperor, he seems a little feeble. But I like that he's, again, chakra-wise. That rootedness, that red. You know, she's probably doing that for Aries or something, but that's what I was getting out of it. And so here, she even has a shaman, a doggy shaman card. And I love all the paw prints in the back there. How fun is that? The Lovers, very sweet. The Chariots, of course, that makes a lot of sense. Strength, I love this one too. That also makes a lot of sense to me. This is what I cannot get my shepherd to do, to just leave the cats alone. Just leave them alone. You know, so that shows the strength of, again, impulse control. The Hermit. The Wheel. And Justice. What do they call that? Pharaoh Hound? Pharaoh Hound, there you go. Probably for Mott. The Seer. So, I don't know if he's supposed to be dreaming. You know how dogs will kind of get in odd positions and hang their heads or whatever? I'm not sure. Death, that's pretty cool with Anubis there. Kind of raising the dead, which I thought Anubis was helping them cross. But anyway, that works for me, Anubis. Temperance is a poodle. That totally works for me. Poodle, puddle dogs, yes. Too funny. The Trickster, this looks more like a fox than a coyote, but whatever. And foxes are certainly tricksters also. Perhaps even above the coyote. So there we go. The Tower is interesting. You've got more than one tragedy going on here. It's like they're trying to get up on the tower that might not save them from the fire. They want it to, but it's questionable. Somebody might get singed. I'm taking this, the Dog Star, for the star is kind of being an oasis in the desert, maybe. That one was a little confusing. Again, I need to look at the guidebook. I can look at the guidebook and probably have some of these things answered, but this is just kind of a first response. I love the Moon card. I love the colors of the Moon card. I love that kind of the inner wild wolf coming out in the dog, but that's the wolf spirit alive in the dog. And even that it's a hound, you know, a scent hound. Looks like a foxhound. The Sun. They're calling Judgment the Call. And I find that interesting. I don't know how I'll end up interpreting it in readings. Not at all like a typical judgment card. But you know, dogs do respond to, I think that there's that's 101 Dalmatians. I'm trying to make 1,001. We don't need to go that far. 101 Dalmatians. Isn't there a thing where one dog starts to bark and then they pass a message along? You know, dogs are very, very attuned to hearing the call and responding, often hysterically, to any other dog that's barking. The world, and you've got all of the symbols. One of the things that was really interesting to me is that this strikes me as very Chinese, the stone figure there. I'm not even sure why. But if you include the stone, you've actually got the Chinese elements here, because you've got, well, they don't use stone, they use metal, and then they use wood, as in that tree, and then fire and air and water. So I just found that very interesting. And I'm assuming that that is a liver border collie there with the laurels around, is the way I think of, you know, that kind of dog that can do practically anything. Ace of Sky. I wouldn't mind even putting these next to the cat cards and just kind of seeing, the colors seem more intense in this deck for some reason. Two of Sky. Three of Sky. I like how there's an idea here of separation, of maybe wanting to get together but being separated. I really like that. How that's depicted. I felt like in this deck she may have backed off of some of the more heart-wrenching things that she could have put in here. You know, I wonder if she got some feedback from people on the mystical cats, because some of the images, true though they may be to the card, are just, when we see the kitties in that situation, is just really heart-wrenching. And I feel like she, this deck does not have that, and it could certainly have had that. So the Four of Sky. So that's, I assume that shepherd is having to heal. Five of Sky. Hogging all the toys and chasing everybody off. Six of Sky, which I assume that this dog has been trying to get at the rabbit, and you see he's all scratched up, and the rabbit's just perfectly calm and feels like it's in no danger, and maybe he's turning his attention maybe to chase the squirrel instead. Something like that. So the Seven of Sky is almost like this one dog, kind of the alpha dog, is forbidding. I don't think there's any stealing unless that little dog is hoping to steal something. So that's one I'll have to read about as well. Eight of Sky. He's not seeing the easy way because he's so panicked with the crows harassing him. Nine of Sky is interesting, kind of like hiding from the lightning, which isn't likely to hurt him, but ending up, or maybe just somehow ending up feeling like he's got something to worry about no matter what. No escaping. And the Ten of Sky, where the wolf is pulling out, I assume that's a wolf, is pulling out the arrows. Okay, so now we have a Sky Pup, Sky Guardian, Alpha Female, Alpha Male, Ace of C, Two of C. I kind of wish that this had been more, I don't know, if you're going to put them at the stream, you know, have them maybe drinking together out of it or something. But it still comes across. They're buds. Three of C, very amusing. There's the Four of C. Very cute. Five of C. I like how she's found another way to do something very similar to what she did with the cats. Again, very similar to what was done in the cats, mystical cats. Seven of C, or kind of these lily pads, but I'm not sure if the lily pads are all that tempting. It looks like the dog's looking past the lily pads. Maybe he's thinking that he can step on them and is going to end up in the drink there. Eight of C, so the C is in the background and he is departing. Happy dog, 9 of C. 10 of C. So mostly, you know, very recognizable Rider-Waite-Smith, which is same as in the Mystical Cats. And see, like, this is not a sea dog necessarily, I don't know. Is it a Portuguese water dog puppy? Something like that is what it reminds me of. So there are, you know, Springer is a water dog. This next one I'm not so sure about, unless it's another, I don't know if this is another thing. Do people do poodles in dreadlocks? Maybe they do. And I think this is a Portuguese water dog right here. Or, gosh, there's another, oh well. Don't know my dog breeds anymore. Ace of Fire. 2 of Fire. So this is that the 2 of Fire would be a crossroads. Doesn't quite make sense to me. And look, it's a very primitive sort of village up there. So these two cards are almost, although this one is on the path now, is no longer deciding, is on the path. The same primitive village is a little bit closer. Not by much, but... And so you have these old Stone Age kind of buildings. 4 of Wands. 5 of Fire. Yeah. My dogs are a lot like that. I'm just thinking, not as bad as it used to be, but anyway, if big dogs running over little dogs getting angry. 6 of Fire. Seven of Fire. This is kind of amusing with that smaller dog on higher ground, but defending ferociously. I kind of wish this was actually 8 dogs leaping in the same direction. Because Lord knows, if one dog takes off, all the dogs are going to take off in that direction, right? Like a pack of foxhounds or something. So this was interesting, and I don't know what to make of it. You know, the 9 of Fire. Now this is a card that should be very suited to dogs because of the guarding aspect. But again, it's very kind of shamanic and ancestry kind of things with all of this stuff here on the back and the ceremonial flames lit and things like that. The 10 of Fire, having to haul a travois across broken ground with those rocks, and again there's those primitive dwellings in the background. Little fire pup. Fire Guardian. To me that's a really interesting card for the Fire Guardian, in the sense of the Bernese Mountain Dog being in a cold place but being potentially a source of warmth for somebody who needs to be rescued. The Alpha Female. And the Alpha Male. And I actually would, I think, have reversed those two, but that's alright. It's not a big deal. Definitely makes sense to have a Dalmatian. So associated with fire engines, to have that among the fires. Ace of Earth. Two of Earth. This I don't quite see how that could be. Well, I guess because there's more weight on there, I guess I can see how that's balancing. Three of Earth. This was weird. So this one got me because the dog is doing something more human, and that doesn't work all that well for me. So I was this card I was a little disappointed in, but I can live with it. This card totally cracks me up. So again, kind of, this is Four of Earth, again kind of the shamanic feel, the hoarder shaman. Five of Earth, yes, the well-appointed humans dwelling in the doghouse that's falling apart and there's no fire. Six of Earth, sharing toys maybe. Seven of Earth, it's not looking good for the baby bunnies. If he can get himself up and over, he's got tender treats there. Eight of Earth, Eight of Pentacles, and this is another one. It's like, well, alright, so you've got the magical energy there, but is the dog stringing the beads or is he unstringing the beads? If it were my dogs, they would be, or cats, they would be unstringing the beads. Nine of Earth. It's nice to have an Afghan in here. I have a friend who's very fond of Afghans, an Afghan enthusiast. Ten of Earth. It looks like a grand puppy dog with the grand puppies. The Earth puppy, and I love that they also have the fox in there with it. Earth Guardian, there at the perimeter. Earth Alpha Female. It's interesting to me that she's hiding. That part I don't quite get. Is that just the way to kind of show the garden, or I don't know. Maybe the sheltered aspect of the Queen of Pentacles. And then the Earth Alpha Male, which I love the look on that dog's face. It's so funny. So I'm sure you guys have all seen that by now, because I'm not somebody who gets things early. But there's the walkthrough. I'm happy with it. I think it's actually more attractive. Did I show the backs? I think it's actually more attractive in person than looking at images online. And I look forward. People might complain about the cardstock, thinking that it's flimsy, but oh my goodness, it shuffles so easily from my fingers, and that just makes the world of difference to me. So, wunderbar. I actually don't even know what that means. I mean for it to mean wonderful. So yeah, I look forward to using the not mystical dogs, magical dogs. There we go. And I do need to take a little bit of a deck break to catch up some more with the ones that I have. So let's see if it'll last for a month or two, that I can go without deck purchasing. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.